Nigeria's Federal Inland Revenue Services signed an MOU with France DGFIP, France's Public Finance Tax Administration body, and according to the federal government's clarification dated December 12, 2025, the MOU is described as technical cooperation, capacity building, institutional learning, advisory, non-intrusive support, especially around modern tax administration and compliance systems. Government's headline assurance is very direct. No access to Nigeria's taxpayers' data. No access to digital tax platforms. No access to enforcement systems. No operational control over Nigeria's existing laws on data protection, cybersecurity, and sovereignty still apply. That is the official story. So why is the public still boiling? Tax is not just money. Tax is power. Tax is intelligence. Tax is the map of nation's economic bloodstream. So when Nigerians hear that Nigeria's tax authority, FIRS, signed a memorandum of understanding with France DGFIP, it doesn't land like ordinary international cooperation. It lands like, wait, who is touching the engine room of our economy? Let's be intellectually honest. Tax cooperation is not strange. Countries share best practices, but Nigeria is not reacting to cooperation. Nigeria is reacting to what tax systems represent, because tax administration reveals who has money, where money moves, which sectors are booming, which sectors are faking numbers, who is compliant, who is politically protected, which networks dominate contracts and imports where leakages occur. Even if you don't hand over taxpayer data directly, a poorly bounded partnership can create informational advantage over time through process mapping, systems architecture, compliance strategy, audit selection logic, risk profiling methods, and digital transformation blueprint. That's why people say even advice can become access depending on how it's implemented. And that's why the public reaction online is intense. Some Nigerians are framing it as a sovereignty issue, not a technical issue. Now let's state government's defense clearly, because analysis must be fair. FIRS says this MOU is a globally recognized technical framework, which means it is advisory, knowledge sharing, capacity building, institutional learning from the DGFIP's experience in digital administration and compliance management. And importantly, government insists that it does not override Nigeria's law. It does not give France access to Nigeria's tax back end. It does not outsource core tax functions. Local institutions and local tech providers remain central, and Nigeria remains in control during transition from FIRS to the new Nigerian Revenue Service (NRS). Now that transition is real. The Tax Reform Act signed in June 2025 created major reforms, including establishing the Nigerian Revenue Service (NRS) to replace FIRS. So from government's angle, they are saying this is preparation. We are modernizing and we are learning. That sounds reasonable. So again, why the panic? In stable countries, the public reads a government statement and says, okay, show us the safeguards. In Nigeria, many people read a government statement and respond by saying, show us the truth, because statements don't protect us. This is the trust deficit, and it has layers. And one of its layers is transparency fatigue. Nigerians often feel that government communication comes after public outrage, not before it. People ask, why wasn't the MOU proactively published and explained in detail from day one? Why does clarification come only after backlash? When the citizens feel they are constantly finding out later, trust collapses. Secondly, Nigerians have experience of policy experiments. Small technical thing they say, but later it becomes heavy consequences. Many Nigerians have lived through moments where something was introduced to them as minor, temporary, technical, for efficiency, and later it became permanent hardship. New enforcement pressure widened state control or an avenue for elite advantage. So when government says just capacity building, what the public hears is today's capacity building, tomorrow's dependence. Number three, in Nigeria, credibility is earned not by declarations but by conduct. That is the heart of it. People don't only fear France, they fear weak boundaries, political capture, poor oversight, and implementations that quietly expands beyond the paper. Number four, when citizens are under pressure, cost of living, insecurity, unstable jobs, any new tax-related action feels like, are they building a smarter system to tax us harder while the elite escape? So even a legitimate reform can trigger resentment when people believe the burden is unequal, enforcement is selective, and the political class is insulated. So now, why is France the lightning rod? Because in West Africa, France is not seen as a neutral actor by many citizens, especially due to its historical footprint across Francophone Africa. Even though Nigeria is not a safer zone country, Nigerians are reacting to a pattern they believe they've seen elsewhere. Influence that begins as technical support and gradually becomes structural leverage. So when Nigerians online say things like France is not an innocent country, they are not debating taxed software alone. They are debating geopolitical influence, sovereignty, and who shapes African institutions. And that's why the MOU feels larger than its text. The best pro-MOU argument by the government is that Nigeria needs modernization fast. Digital tax administration is complex. Cross-border finance is evolving. Learning from advanced systems can reduce leakages and improve governance if Nigeria controls boundaries and retains ownership. Also, the Tax Reform Act already points to a major restructure of revenue administration. Capacity building could help the transition succeed. The argument by critics is that tax is national intelligence. Even limited advisory work can expose sensitive structures. Nigeria's institutions have a history of weak oversight, and when a country already suffers a credibility crisis, the public cannot confidently trust that there will be no access unless it is independently verifiable. Both arguments have logic. So the real question is not, is cooperation bad? The real question is, what safeguards are enforceable, auditable, and transparent for all to see? If Nigeria wants to calm this controversy, citizens should not rely on vibes. They should demand measurable safeguards. Publish the MOU text or a full public version, not just press statements. Let reputable Nigerian institutions and independent auditors confirm what access exists and doesn't exist. Because the fear is not training, the fear is dependency. But in Nigeria, the debate is not about paper, it is about trust. And trust isn't built by saying, don't worry. Trust is built by showing transparency, enforceable safeguards, independent verification, and consistent conduct. So the MOU is not just a tax story, it is a mirror reflecting the deepest issues in Nigeria's governance today. A nation where the people must scrutinize power because power has not consistently proven itself trustworthy. If you want more of this deep analysis, please subscribe because here we follow the facts and we ask the hard questions. This is Impact Media. Thank you for listening.